the more of us around the world actually find balance in this, it'll ripple out and impact the rest of the world and create a very different world to live in.
Welcome to Marketing with Vino, the edutainment business growth podcast, mixing education and entertainment to make growing your service business much more fun. Your hosts, Quinton Venter, online marketing expert, and Gabby Kowalski, creator of the Business Freedom Formula, have a glass of wine and share powerful and up-to-date strategies to help grow your service business fast.
Hey guys, welcome to another amazing episode. Marketing with Vino. Joining us is the most amazing Gabs. Welcome, Gabs.
Hello, awesome Quinton. Hello, gorgeous viewers and listeners, and if you're whichever way you fly, we've got something really cool to share with you today, and this is literally the difference that makes all the difference. So what we're sharing with you today is a mindset up-leveling to ensure that your marketing campaigns rock beyond your wildest dreams. So this is for the people that are doing the do and finding that the results aren't flying in and wondering why. Here I am, I'm putting the marketing out and, why aren't I getting massive return on investment? And this is what it is. What it is this.
It's very simple. From what we spoke about before, it's nothing huge. It's not that these people are going to think oh, wow, I never knew that. Once you get behind this, it's going to be like the penny drops, and they will just feel like it makes sense. It's so obvious, basically. And I'm so excited for this episode. Let's go, Gabs.
I love it. I love the delay. just wait for it. About to say it, Quinton has to. Yeah, I love it. All right, so guys, this is what it is. You got to get that you need to calibrate your ability to give and receive so they're equally proportional. Majority of heart-centered business owners are actually wired differently. So if you were to look at your ability to give and receive on a ratio of 100%, what you want to get to is 50-50 within yourself. 50-50. 50% of you receives, 50% of you gives. What does that mean? That means that if you know that you're a giver, right? If you know you love to give, if you know you go out of your way for people, if you know that often you find yourself saying yes and being overcommitted and going out of your way for people. And if you know you find yourself often not receiving, being somewhere where someone offers to pay for dinner and you're like, no, I got it. Or someone gives you a gift and you find yourself saying, no, or you shouldn't have. Then this is for you. So what you want to do is you want to calibrate your ability to actually receive. And this is opening you up. This is actually like a whole mindset shift, a whole new way of being. And I'm going to give you the strategy for how to develop this within you. Now, if you're listening to this and you feel like you're, on your equilibrium, you're actually more of a taker. You tend to take and receive very well, but you tend to not want to give. This message is still for you because for your business and marketing to rock really, really well, you want to be calibrated where you're on equal. So if you think of it simple, you want to be give and receive on either side. And most people have this where their give is overstretched, taking up pretty much the whole yin yang.
Yeah.
Now, if that's the case, right, your ability to receive is quite limited, which means that if you're running a marketing campaign energetically, right, if you're running a marketing campaign and you want it to deliver phenomenal results for you, yet at the same time, now this is what's funny, right? At the same time, if that week you had friends, buy you a gift or do you a favor, you're actually already full on your receiving end and your marketing campaign could flop because energetically you're not in the receiving frame, which means that the right people that could have seen your Facebook ad literally don't. They're not online. They're not seeing it. I know that sounds a bit freaky. I know it sounds a bit freaky and it's a bit quantum absurd, but it's what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So years ago, I learned this and it had the most profound impact on my business life. This was about 5 years ago now. I was at an event and the speaker was actually sharing the give and receive. And he was saying that, unless givers learn how to receive, they're not going to be able to escalate and have everything they want to happen and have their dreams come true because they're too busy giving. And so he tasked us that you've got to learn how to receive. You've got to now embrace saying yes. You've got to embrace saying yes and letting people give, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend and I at the time were at this event, and we're both in this place, and we both decided to be complete warriors for each other around this. Now, my version of this was actually even worse than hers. I came from a place, Quinton, where years ago, like, I literally paid for everything. I'd go out to dinner with friends. I'd pay for the whole dinner. I was like a guy, just paying for everything.
Giving. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I did it because I thought I was doing like good. I thought I was, like if you look at history, if you look at human history, what have we been installed into us? Give, don't be selfish, all these, religious messages. And I believe that there's a problem with that because it's not about being selfish when you actually learn how to calibrate and receive equally. Yeah. So here I am trying to be a good person. On the other side of this, when I really, looked deep into it, what I realized was I was actually giving to be significant.
So you feel important. Makes total sense.
Totally right. It was actually a big wank job. It was an ego thing. I was giving to be significant. And, it made me feel good, made me feel important, made me feel like I was a superhero.
Yeah.
However, right, when you instead, you're a bit of an asshole because everyone likes to give. Everyone likes the feeling of contribution. At soul, there's a part of our soul that really wants to contribute, right? So if you're there in the world and you're just giving and saying, no, I've got this, oh, you shouldn't have, then what are you doing to all the other people's ability to express themselves in abundance and in giving?
You're not satisfying their needs for the reasons why they're doing it. It sounds so simple. Even on a smaller level where it's just compliments, where it's everyday compliments in terms of giving compliments and receiving compliments. That oftentimes when and especially in the beginning, I would get a lot of compliments. And in the beginning, it was in terms of I had to give something back. It was like I felt the need to give them a compliment back. But it's really learning how to take that compliment just for what it is. When someone say that you're handsome or you're beautiful or you're whatever it is, like just take it. Don't have to give a compliment back. And it was funny, even on that level, it was a challenge for me because at the time you're so programmed to do that back, but you're not allowing to receive it for what it actually just is.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And as you're saying this, it's just, I'm thinking about more things that has happened to me in the past. And that was just one of the things that's just this breakthrough. It's like, wow, fascinating.
It is, isn't it? So this is where everyone listening and everyone watching take this on. If I give you a gift, if you give me a gift, and you put thought and effort into it, and I take it and say, oh, no, you shouldn't have. Oh, don't be silly. Oh, that's just... Versus I take it and go, oh, wow, thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. What feels better?
The second one.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually receiving your gift. I'm giving you the opportunity to feel appreciated, to feel valued, to feel like you've made a difference, to feel like you're contributing.
Yeah. When
we do the other, if someone says you're beautiful, say thank you. No matter what it is, how big or small, say thank you. And catch yourself, bite your tongue when you find yourself going, like stop yourself. Consciously calibrate this. Now, for me, it took me, I'm not kidding, about 6 months to switch this pattern over.
Yeah,
total
I
commitment,
you.
right?
Yeah.
And mine was so far off. Like, if I was to really be honest, I think I was at like 90% 10. And it took ages. And I still remember, like, it was tight butt, it was clenched fist, it was like I would be. I still remember like the day that we learnt this. Kelly and I went to the little like bar club at the venue.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm buying drinks, and she's like, you got to receive, and I'm going, yeah, sure, I can totally receive. I'm up for this. In my head, I'm thinking, yeah, that's cool. I'll just get the next round, right?
Yeah.
Then Then comes the next round, and she's like, put your purse away, I'm getting this. And oh my God, the tension. My shoulders were tense. I'm like, oh, it was so hard. It was so hard to receive continuously.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, but. And she's like, no. I'm like, oh, so tense. In every fiber, like my butt's tense, everything's tense. Then, okay, I took the drink. All night, she friggin' paid for everything to have me have this experience. And then throughout the coming months, when we left this event and just continuously, she was such a custodian for this. Like, gosh, I love her to bits and pieces because to me, the people, the true people in your life that are there for you in these types of situations, they're worth their weight in gold.
Absolutely.
The ones that are just there for the fun times and aren't there to really be a custodian for your happiness, well, they're a dime a dozen. So if you find people like Kelly, you keep them, right?
Absolutely. The fact that she was to put herself through your learning, like to actually give you that lesson, it was
hard for her. Like if you ask her, she's going to go, oh, that time. It was like she just kept doing, she had to fight with me. Like I wasn't easy on it. I'm like, yeah, but I received da-da-da-da. She's like, nah, you got to receive this too. I'm like, but. She's like, no. I was like a spoiled little brat. I was so, But so as the time unfolded, and this was my goal, like it was actually something that I was so consciously working on. Like it's not something that I just learned in a seminar, forgot about. It's something I really, really implemented and took on as a growth journey for myself. And I still remember it was, the formula itself that we created around this was say yes and say thank you and say no more to like calibrate your giving as well. So it was give at a level that's ecological, not to extend yourself. Like I still remember in my first business, I created a business where I had time freedom and money freedom. And get this, Quinton, I worked a couple of days a week, yet I was flat out all week doing shit for other people.
I know the feeling.
Yep.
I know the feeling.
And so, like, this is so important, guys, because if your dream is to create a lifestyle business, but you've got this going on, it doesn't matter if you create the time and the money, this will get you. Yeah. This will actually have you not live the lifestyle because you'll find yourself being filled with other people's shit to do because you're a giver, and please also get that if you've got a lot of give in you, you're going to attract and call out in others more of taking. Yeah. You're actually going to even condition your friends, even if you got some friends that were good-natured, you, by your sheer force of this, will condition them to start taking from you. You'll help them grow in this area if you've got a lot of force around this. So please get, like, now I totally enjoy my time. Now I've got my time, and guess what? It's not filled with other people's stuff. Don't get me wrong, I still go out of my way and contribute, but I've got heaps of time on my hands to enjoy for myself. I'm receiving it for myself, right? Yeah. Secondly to this, so just to give you the formula though, the formula itself was say no more. Calibrate and really think before you say yes. So I wasn't allowed to say yes to anything without thinking about it 3 times over.
I love that. It's just like a little clock, just tick, 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 tick. Here's my response.
I literally had to slow down. And guess what? When I had to think about it 3 times over, I found myself then going, oh, what am I doing? Like it really did ecologically set up a long-term filter now that I can easily say no now if it's not ecological, if it's not good for myself and others, right? So that was one, learning how to say no by thinking about it 3 times. And guys, what that means is this. If someone says to you, hey, can you help me move my house? You say, I'd love to. Let me just check and I'll get back to you to see if I can make that happen.
I love that. So it's not like you leave them hanging. You're still giving them an answer. And then you're just coming back to it.
You're not like them, it's not you and them standing there, and you disappeared.
It's just blank, blank face.
So are you doing it? Are you in?
It's the computer rebooting. Yeah, got it.
So the first thing is learn how to say no and calibrate, and just don't say yes to anything without telling people you need to check your diary, check with someone, whatever. Second is start to receive. Now, what does this mean? This means that you be open to saying yes to every gift that's coming your way and say thank you. Yeah. So So like if someone says, hey, can I get you a coffee? You don't go, no, I'll get it myself. You say, yeah, that'd be great, thank you. If someone, whatever it might be, like if someone offers to help you with something, start saying yes more. So if you're in women, or men, if you're in the kitchen cooking and your partner goes, hey, can I help you in the kitchen? Say, well, yeah, actually, you could chop up this. Even if even if consciously you think, oh my God, I'm a faster cook than you, you're going to slow me down.
Yeah.
You still force yourself to experience the art of receiving and help other people experience the art of contribution. Then the third thing I really want you to get to, because some people did this wrong. So some people heard this message and went and said yes to everything. Now, if you don't like olives and someone offers you olives, you're allowed to say no.
Yeah, makes sense.
It does, right?
Yeah. Don't do things you don't like doing.
So say yes to the things that you actually can use, and even if you're kind of like 50-50 on it. So even if you're like, well, I don't know if I want a coffee, say yes. Unless you definitely don't want a coffee because you've already had 3 and you're feeling a bit acidic. That's a totally different story. Then ask for a tea.
Yeah.
Is this cool?
Absolutely, yeah. It's blown my mind in terms of thinking, and you just recently ran a workshop on this. It's the more that you speak about it, the more that I'm thinking is how I show up to day-to-day life in the small and little things, is how this is impacting me on a larger scale. Even as you just said, the coffee thing. For me, I say no to coffee when I'm going through the period of not drinking any coffee. But as you just flipped it, it's no, instead I'll have a tea. You're still open to receiving some form. What also comes to mind is, and I want to get your thoughts on this, the person that is saying no in terms of not wanting to have that gift, or saying, oh, you shouldn't have, or whatever the story is, the excuse is that a sense of low self-worth in terms of
Honestly,
feel that they're not worthy of that?
Yeah, look, it could be. I'm not going to pigeonhole it into that, because like low self-worth gets thrown around a little bit.
Yeah.
To me, it's actually a program, and I believe it's conditioning. I believe that when I look at the history of humankind, have a look at where we've come from, and it depends on which, like your upbringing, all of it. When I just look into religion and the impact your ancestors and your family has had on your behavior.
Yeah.
So it's, it's actually like, okay, for example, when we're children, we're taught to share.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like there's a lot of stuff that goes on. When we're watching cartoons, we're also taught to share, to give. We're not taught to receive. The messages in them aren't training us to learn how to receive and be grateful. They're teaching us how to give and not be selfish.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think it's simpler than, oh, am I not worthy? Does that make sense? Like I think sometimes people take some of this stuff and they go a little bit too therapeutic, like they try to therapy it.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
Because here's the thing I found. A lot of people, and this is what I found, people with big hearts, people that are heartfelt, have this problem.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, the other people don't have a heart, because everyone does. But the people that we sort of go, wow, what a good heart. Do you know why we think they've got a good heart? One of the criteria that we've been taught means good heart is generosity and giving. Mm. So if we want to, so think of it like this, right? If instead of I've got so low self-worth, if instead you seek to be the best version of yourself, if instead you want to be the best you, and then you learn through your upbringing that people with good hearts are good, people with bad hearts kill and rape and pillage, they're bad.
Yeah.
Well, good people are giving and generous. Okay, I'm a good person. I'm not evil. I'm going to give and be generous. So does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So what I'm here to tell you guys is it's not about not giving anymore. It's about understanding that you're actually causing pain in the world. Because if you're not balanced around this, you're actually creating the polar opposite of you inside of the universe, the space. So you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Which means that the more of us around the world actually find balance in this, it'll ripple out and impact the rest of the world and create a very different world to live in.
Yeah.
This goes beyond your own pocket and your own time off. This actually has this amazing impact all over the globe. Because, like I said, if you're a giver and you're really strong in that, even if you find another giver, the weakest giver will give in and become a taker.
Yeah.
And so as a result, you're actually causing problems in the world. You're creating like defective people. If you're in business and you're a full giver, the people that you hire could even be balanced. But because you, as a giver, micromanage, work your ass off, go above and beyond too much, you then breed staff that's lazy, that's dependent on you, and take shit for granted.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
So to me, this actually ripples out everywhere, and it's this doesn't make you a good person. Overgiving does not make us a good person. Being balanced does, because that means that you're actually impacting others in a beautiful, beautiful way. So if you're a giver and you've got people around you that are takers too, but by you just being there, you're keeping them stuck in not taking responsibility for their own friggin' lives, not stepping up. Givers actually cause problems on this planet. Parents that overgive create children that can't survive in the world without them.
Yeah.
Because, if the mother is cooking and cleaning and doing everything, the kid goes out on their own and they don't know how to iron their shirt, clean their house, pay their bills. Like, they can't even survive because, someone wanted to nurture them too much. They looked great, like in theory, what a beautiful thing. In practice, it's just not right.
Yeah.
And this goes across the board for clients as well. If you overgive with your clients, adding value is one thing. So this is where also people inside of this space can misunderstand, add more value to your clients. So as opposed to thinking add more value means I think of how can I innovate and do things better, to make my systems and my stuff even more delicious. Givers tend to go, well, I'll give them more free shit.
Yeah. Another thing to add
Does that make sense?
Another thing to add to that is
they think
absolutely, yeah. What I was thinking about is when someone goes and wants to add value, it's generally down the same line of what they already give in more value down that path, as opposed to thinking that they need to go and now start venturing out into a vertical or horizontal sphere and start delivering other things that isn't generally covered into their own thing. Therefore, they misunderstanding the value giving as opposed to just giving because they think that is how they're going to give more for their clients.
Yeah, exactly. So this was actually quite profound. So I ran the Wealth Intensive with my first class clients a couple of weeks ago, and this was one of the things we shared at the end of the day. And just these beautiful people got it. There was a couple of things that really made the difference for me and for them, and that was really landing in a place of it's selfish to overgive because you're not letting other people give.
Yeah, I believe that 100%.
And, two, how can you possibly have all your dreams come true when your receiving spectrum is so small? One, it'll take you a very long time to achieve your business dreams.
Yeah.
Unless you work on this. Two, because if it's like, if your give is big, if the dream's coming true that quickly, it's going to take time for you to get them drip fed to you because your capacity to receive is pretty small.
Yeah.
Or you just won't get them. You literally won't create the dreams coming true for yourself. You won't get to have it all. So please you're not a good person for overgiving. You're actually causing problems. Two, you're not going to have your dreams come true and inspire others and live your version of success unless you do the work on this. And I promise you, it's probably not going to be as hard for you as it was for me. What's your take, Quinton?
There was another big shift that made for me was when I was reading the book, The Alchemist. And one of the stories was when the main character met the alchemist and they were going through their little venture and they eventually got to the pyramids in Egypt. And for the entire journey of it, the alchemist was able to turn metal into gold. And he gave the little boy his piece of gold. And the little boy said, that is way too much. And one thing that stuck with me is when the alchemist turned around and he said, be careful what you say, because the next time you may not be as how would you say it? I'm misquoting it, but you may not be as generous in the gift. So it is really be careful in terms of how you take that on in terms of what people are giving you, really being open to the receiving end, because next time it might not be there. That was one of the biggest things when I started thinking about this. But as you were talking about, is I started relating back many years ago when it was just the little bits of compliments, of being able to just receive a compliment as opposed to having to make up a compliment just to feel good about myself in terms of what you're saying, the significance side. But receiving the significance from the compliment feels much better.
Yeah. And guys, also get this is why the law of scarcity works the law of reciprocity works in marketing. So the law of reciprocity in marketing states that if I give, you feel the need to reciprocate. So if I give you a sample of my cookies, you feel the need to buy the cookie, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's because a lot of this is actually, by the way, focusing on the givers in the world. That law plays out to the givers, not the takers. You know, if you give a taker a cookie, they'll ask for another one.
It's so true.
Whereas, this is where the world's at. There's a lot of people that are either on one side or the other, that to actually be in harmony with this is extraordinary, but it's also what gives people in the top 5% and the lives that they want. And if you want to get in the game, it's not about what's the next marketing funnel, it's am I actually vibing at receiving?
Yeah.
And let's do the work on it and become the version of myself that's able to receive in abundance all the time.
I love that. Can you go over those 3 points again with learning to say no, learning to say yes?
You're breaking up. I can't hear you.
It'll be a delay loop. You'll get in a second.
And go again.
So can you go over those 3 points again? The first point being learning to say no and learning to say yes.
Yep. So number 1, learn how to say no by saying, let me think about it. To whatever you're asked to do, doesn't matter. Like even if it's small, I want you to get that the purpose of this is to build a muscle. It's not, but that was something really easy. Now, of course, if your wife says, can you please take out the rubbish, right?
Let me think about that.
that's not what I mean by small. I'm talking about, looking at, okay, keep it to medium stuff, like not the everyday kind of stuff, which you're going to sound a bit like a wanker when someone says, hey, can you please pass me that glass of water? And you're going to say, let me think about it. I'm talking about the stuff that's going to take a fair bit of your time.
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's like whatever's going to take a good hour of your time plus, or whatever your time gauge is, it could be half an hour, then say, look, let me see when I can fit that in. Or let me see if I can help you with that. Is that cool, guys?
Yeah,
just to give you the clarity on it. So it's always, let me get back to you and see if I can help. And then 3 times in your head go, can I do this? Is this actually good for me? Is this ecological? Is this going to take me away from stuff that's important to me? Could somebody else take care of this instead? Like this gets you thinking in different ways. Yeah. Number 2 is learning how to say yes. So it's literally saying yes and thank you. Yes and thank you. So this is receive and gratitude happening and building into your muscles. Yes and thank you. And number 3 is say, you don't have to say yes and thank you to things that you don't like. So I don't like olives. And if you gave me a jar of olives, I'm just going to say, look, I'd say thank you for the thought, but I don't like olives. So I'll give them back to you.
I love it.
Is that cool? 1, 2, 3.
Absolutely. I'm going to start practicing that as well.
Don't like olives. So everybody listening and watching, do not send me olives.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, Gabs. It's been most appreciated.
Thank you too. I love the Alchemist story.
Yeah, I've taken from this so much. Just reflecting back at growing up and how I've been programmed in so long with that certain point of thinking of not wanting to receive. So I'm doing some deep thinking now. But even for those listeners that are listening to this podcast and watching us right now, we want to know your thoughts. We want to know as to where did the penny drop for you. And let's continue the conversation. Let's go to marketingwithvino.com and let's continue the conversation there. Join the club. And Gabby and I, we hang out there and we want to know from you. Thank you so much, Gabby. It's been an absolute pleasure. You drank for both of us.
I did. I totally drank for both of us today.
I'll get a bottle of wine next week and we can start drinking together and kick off another amazing episode of Marketing with Vino. Thank you.
Thank you, gorgeous listeners. Thank you, Quinton. Chat next time.
Ciao.
You've been listening to Marketing with Vino. If you enjoyed this episode and want to access the resources discussed in this episode, go to marketingwithvino.com and select which episode you've listened to.